Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Big Don Skills once again bringing you another video. Today we're going to be going in on Battlefield 4 in a good way though. We're talking about why 6 years later this is probably my favorite shooter of all time, and it's aged like fine wine. So I'm going to start it off by saying this game came out in 2013 and it had a rough launch, man. It was honestly one of the worst launches of all time. It had visual glitches. Dawnbreaker, one of the maps, made the game crash all the time. It came out on 360 and it came out on Xbox One right when the Xbox One released. So there was just glitches across every single platform, and they all had all these myriad of different glitches. It was pretty awful. But that being said, DICE hopped on it and fixed their broken product. Now, I'm not a fan of how a lot of these games are being released now and they're half-baked. And this game honestly wasn't an exception, but it made up for it in everything else it had. The first thing is just that the gunplay is buttery smooth. Buttery smooth gunplay. Every gun has a good amount of weight to it. It's just satisfying, each bullet. Each bullet that lands is just very satisfying. And it's something that's hard to explain until you play it, you know. Once you play, you feel the impact of everything that you're doing. The maps, the maps are just classic. Right now, the footage you're watching is on Metro, and Operation Metro was actually a Battlefield 3 map that's just iconic for just insane, crazy hallway battles, explosions everywhere. It's kind of a goofy troll map, but it's fun to just run around and get kills, you know. And all of this stuff just combines because there's so many factors that goes on at the same time in Battlefield. And the fact that I could play this Metro level for 2 or 3 hours straight and every game be totally different. Like, that's another thing that Battlefield as a whole has, is where every time you play, the game is different. Every match is different. You may have a match where you and your boys are on helicopters the whole game, and you're having aerial battles, you know, with some jet that's flying by trying to shoot missiles at you. You could have one where you're infantry the whole time and you're fighting along with these dudes that are on mounted machine guns. Like, it's just dramatically different every single time, and there's always a bunch of, oh my god, did that really just happen moments constantly. Another thing this game had introduced was the Levolution mechanic, which was having stages that had breakable environments. Now, this had been around for a while, where you could break through walls. Bad Company 2 had it. That was kind of like the big pusher of like that game, was that you could blow up through walls and have destructible environments. But this one had it where you could actually transform the entire level. Siege of Shanghai, to be specific, was the big map that they advertised for in like the beta and pre-launch and things like that, where if you blew up certain parts of the building, the entire tower would crash and it would create an entirely new spawn point. Just this alone is just another factor adding to why every single game is different. I've played matches where like people don't even try and blow the tower out, and then I played other matches where it's blown out in like the first 2 or 3 minutes. So it's just really exciting, and it's hard to explain because, you know, most people are gonna try and think Call of Duty, or if they're coming from a game like Call of Duty, people always want to compare it to that. And the gunplay is just dramatically different, man. You shoot at somebody, they get hit. There's no "I shot you first, why did I die" moments. It very rarely happens, and the game itself just has very minimum lag. I barely feel latency when I'm playing it. And the variety, another thing, the variety of weapons. I'm literally going to have to go back and count how many weapons there are, but you have 4 different classes. You have your assault class, which is essentially a medic. They can revive teammates, they can throw health down. Simple stuff, right? They mainly use assault rifles. That's their go-to guns. You have the engineer class that uses submachine guns. They have RPGs, anti-air like man pads. They have all sorts of like explosives for taking out tanks and aircraft, different vehicles. Then you have the support class, which also has ammo. They have LMGs. They can drop C4s. They can blow people up. So they're more of like they're a support class, like it said in the name. And then you have Recon, which is mainly your sniper class. Simple as that. Long range encounters. They have a radio beacon that teammates can spawn on. They have all sorts of like little remote control car like stuff. And each class plays dramatically different. And they all have a very important role. If you run around with a bunch of medics, but you don't have any engineers to help you, you're not going to be able to take out any of the tanks. Tanks are going to just demolish you and dominate the whole game. So you have to have the balance between every single class. You know, if you have a sniper, maybe that sniper can provide crucial spawn points for you and your whole team. So it's just a great balance of classes. And within each class, you can also equip DMRs, which are designated marksman rifles, which are like a medium, kind of like your semi-automatic range weapons. And then they can also do carbines, which is kind of like a hybrid between, like the in-between between a submachine gun and an assault rifle. So the variety of weapons is insane. I mean, there's at least, I'm looking at the game as we speak, there's at least 50 or 60 different weapons. And that's probably lowballing it. From shotguns to DMRs, carbines, assault rifles, LMGs, submachine guns, everything. You have a ton of attachments too. You can do IR sights. You can do your standard blue dot, red dot. As you see on my gun right now, I have like a blue dot on mine. And I'm actually able to go in the settings and change that to any color I want. You know, it has the rainbow radial dial. I can do anything with whatever I want, and that's what makes it cool as well. I can change my hit marker indicators. As you see, like my hip fire reticule is orange, and I can change whenever I shoot at someone. As you notice, there'll be different colors that indicate how I hit that person, whether it's a headshot or a body shot or whatever. So just so much stuff, man. It's crazy how much content they really fit into this game, despite how awful and terrible the launch really was. And that's the only thing that truly hurt this game from calling it the best shooter of all time, was just how bad it started off. And it's really unfortunate. And even since then, man, DICE has came out with, what, 3 or 4 Battlefield games? You have Battlefield 1, or Hardline came first, Battlefield 1, and then you have Battlefield 5, which have all had mixed reviews from the Battlefield community. And people can universally agree that like Battlefield 4 was the definitive Battlefield. Like Battlefield 4, and you could even say 3/Bad Company 2. But this video is about Battlefield 4. Just so much, man. I feel like I could go on for days. You have your camo. To this day, this game probably has the most camos I've ever seen. And I think it's one of the most underlooked parts. It's something that really fell off from Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5, is that they just got rid of all these camos. And once again, as I'm looking at the game now, there's probably at least 100 different camos. Not even exaggerating. From urban to desert to adaptive, and then they all have different variations of their own. So, I mean, you can literally put whatever you want on your gun. Great. Absolutely love it. It caters to any sort of play style that you may have in a first-person shooter. Not to mention, I left out the campaign, but the campaign is easily one of my favorite first-person shooter campaigns of all time. And honestly, a lot of the new generation doesn't really play a lot of campaigns and shooters, especially like your Call of Duty or your Battlefield as well. A lot of people aren't really playing those for the campaign, unfortunately. But this is definitely a sleeper. Like, people were really sleeping on this campaign. So much fun, and you also got some multiplayer unlocks too, based on the ending of your decisions you made at the end. You can unlock up to 3 different weapons, which were pretty solid but not overpowered weapons, like the P90. I think one was like the M249, and I think like an L85, L86, something like that. But so much good stuff, man. Great game. I'm playing on Xbox One, but I would love to even hop on PC and see how PC's running, you know. They made the DLC free at one point, and the DLC for this game is amazing. Unfortunately, with the game being old, on Xbox One, it's very hard to find DLC servers nowadays, just because the player count's still fairly low. So I just hope maybe in the future there'll be some more dedicated servers to some of the DLC maps, because the DLC maps are phenomenal, and they've been free forever. So like I said, this game is worth playing. I would love to get back into this game more. Every time I tell my friends to hop back on it, it feels like we're playing day one, because there's just so much to do, and it's still just a amazing time. But before I go on too much about this video, that's all I wanted to say about why you should play Battlefield 4 and why this is one of my favorite games of all time. I hope you enjoyed me talking for this long period of time. It was great conveying some information to y'all. And don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to leave a comment if you enjoyed the video. And how do you feel about Battlefield 4? Do you think it's overrated? Do you think it's fun? Do you think it's trash? I mean, whatever. I'm open to all discussions. Let me know what y'all think. I want to hear from everybody else. And if you also have more topics that you want me to talk about in future videos, please join the Discord. Send me a message. Leave it in my Discord section about news, and I will talk about it if I find it to be a newsworthy topic. So don't forget to hit me up. I appreciate everybody who stopped by. Y'all have a good one. I'll see y'all on the next one. Deuces.